What is up, Orchard Student High Schoolers? Well, hey, welcome to week 2 of our series, More to the Story. Have you ever had a friend start a conversation with you and it didn't go the way you thought it was going to go, or it wasn't about what you thought it was going to be about? That's kind of how I feel about today. We're about to start a conversation that, it might be weird, or it might be something that you weren't expecting. So maybe this is the first time you've ever heard this, but today for church, we're gonna talk about porn. Yes, that's right. We're gonna talk about pornography. And let me go ahead and clear the air that this is gonna be kind of a weird conversation and maybe kind of awkward, but I think we can get through this together. And I think it'll be very beneficial for you as you try and grow closer to Jesus and learn that there's more to the story about sex than maybe you think you know from church. So you may be saying, Joe, this is really awkward. Why are we talking about porn, especially as like a church message? Well, porn is pretty much everywhere. And not just like porn in the sense of like some like website that you have to go hunt things down for, or maybe some like explicit channel or page. But the idea of porn is really all over our culture. If you've ever watched anything on Netflix, Hulu, TikTok, Instagram, really any type of site that has any type of visual stimulation or anything like that, with like movies or TV shows you can watch, the idea of porn is really used in almost every single one of those contexts. And really, for the definition of porn that I want us to kind of hang around with is anything that is like sexually stimulating. So anything that grabs your attention because it's like sexually provocative or sexually alluring. So that's kind of the framework I want to keep us in today. So that's what we'll be kind of looking at as we continue this conversation. So and here's the thing about porn. This whole series is about that there's more to the story. Well, here's the truth about porn is that porn does not tell the whole story. Porn, some teenagers I'll talk to, they're like, oh, well, it's not that big of a deal because it's just me and a screen, or it's just me and my computer, or me and my phone. Or they say, oh, well, it's, I'm still a virgin, so I'm just using this to learn, or I try and use it for like educating myself, or I want to, like when I do get married, I want to be good at sex. So I want to learn somehow. So I want to kind of debunk some of that stuff today. And the thing about porn is, it never educates it, but it does get you addicted. So it might not be doing what you think it's trying to do in your life. To start off, I'd like to look at a passage of scripture from a book called Proverbs. Okay, Proverbs is a compiled book of wise sayings from an ancient king of Israel. His name was Solomon, and he was one of the wisest men that ever lived, and he wrote a bunch of wise things. And in Proverbs 14, verse 15, he says this: the simple believe anything, but the prudent give thought to their steps. The simple believe anything. The term simple here really can be translated to naive. And I know none of us want to be naive about anything. And so with this context of this verse, let's really talk about some maybe simple things that we've believed about porn. Most teenagers that I talk to think that they can control their use of porn, that they can control when they see it, when they use it, when they want to go to it. But the fact of the matter is that's just not correct. There's actually a website. It's called fightthenewdrug.org, and it has compiled decades and decades and decades of research to show people the changes that porn actually makes in your life. Because porn isn't just something that you look at when it's late at night and you're tired and you're in your room by yourself, or it's not just something that we seek out whenever we choose to. The thing about porn is it actually operates within your brain the same way addictive substances operate. So, like, not to go extreme, but you can go ahead and think of things like heroin and cocaine and any type of like opioids that you could get addicted to. The same way that a drug addict's brain is craving that drug that they are used to, pornography does the same to your brain, because it actually dampens and It actually numbs like the pleasure receptors in your brain. Like, because the first time you get porn, it's just like this crazy high, and you just like can't believe what you just saw, what you experienced. But then the next time, you gotta have a little more, or you gotta flip through more images, or you have to try and see something a little more than you did the first time, and the time before that, and the time before that, and the time before that, and the time before that. So it actually, porn actually rewires and numbs your brain to a degree, just like the same as it would for a drug addict. So please don't think that, oh, I'm good, I control when I look at it. No, actually, science shows that it's got a control on you if it's something that you use regularly. So that's why we're calling this series More to the Story, because porn doesn't tell you the whole story. In fact, I would say that porn actually hides more from you than you think. It doesn't just distract you, it really addicts you. It gets you addicted, and if you want to have a full and complete and healthy sex life, which I believe is within the context of marriage, then porn is something that we need to gut and get out of our life. Because here's some facts, okay? Porn will not make you better at sex. It does not. I'm married and I have children, so I've had sex. Porn does not make you better at sex, okay? Porn will not make sex better for you. So you might be thinking, okay, well, what if I'm, in a relationship and blah, 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 so maybe I should try and bring something to the table. Like, no, it's not gonna make sex better for you. Porn, man, if you're like, I'm gonna wait until I'm married to have sex, which is awesome. I challenge everybody to do that. But you're like, I'm gonna go ahead and do a little education. Porn does not educate you. Porn does not teach you and educate you about sex. Because what happens in pornography is actually geared and intentionally written and done in ways that are scripted and are things that are not normal life for normal people. Okay, those are things that are typically unhealthy. And we even talked about it last week. When you use pornography, you're actually helping to fund the human trafficking in our world. So much of human trafficking is actually used in porn. So that's just something that you should know, that it's not telling you the whole story. And God isn't against porn because he hates sex. God is against porn because God is love. And anytime pornography is used, that is not used in a loving way. That's not used in a loving context that glorifies another image bearer of God. We talked about that last week, that we are all image bearers of God. So anytime we interact sexually with someone, first in person or on a screen, that's someone who's made in the image of God. So pornography exploits and abuses that person who is bearing the image of God, just like you are. So what do we do? I think we can go to Ephesians chapter 5, which is a letter written by the Apostle Paul to a group of people who are trying to learn how to live to be like Christ followers. They were trying to learn how to be obedient. And Paul says this in Ephesians 5, verse 15. He says, be careful, be very careful then how you live, not as unwise, but as wise. Be very careful how you live. Guys, my challenge to you would be to live carefully. And here's what that means. I don't want you guys right now, I don't want to put shame on anybody. I don't want to make you feel even worse about something that maybe you're kind of sick and tired of being addicted to or using. But here's the thing. You don't need to be fooled. You need to be wise. Pornography is not the truth about sex. Pornography never tells the whole story about sex. And so what I want to challenge you guys is I want to challenge you to take 2 steps. Refuse to be fooled. Refuse to be fooled. Say, I'm not going to let pornography fool me into thinking that this is real sex. And refuse to participate. Refuse to participate. And some of you, you've tried this. You're like, I'm kind of sick of looking at porn, and I don't like it, and it makes me feel dirty, and it makes me feel icky, and it makes me not enjoy. I don't even like it, but I still do it for some reason. Because here's, like we talked about, porn changes your brain, which affects your relationships, your friendships, your dating friendships, your conversations. You feel awkward looking another person in the eyes because all you can maybe think about is scenarios from things you've seen. Man, refuse to participate, and you might have to put up some big roadblocks to make sure you don't participate. You need to bring in a trusted friend or your parents or a small group leader and say, hey, listen, this has been something I'm struggling with, and they're not going to shame you, they're not going to condemn you, because this is something that we don't want anyone addicted to. We don't want anybody to struggle with this, so they would love to help you have some freedom and fight against that. You might need to put something on your phone like a VPN, some filtering device. I use something called Covenant Eyes, and you can go to covenanteyes.com and find out about that software. I use that to protect myself and to protect my family, because I don't want anything explicit coming on my phone or anything coming to a device with my family. So you might need to put up some type of barriers on your phone. You might need to delete some apps and have somebody put a restriction code on your phone so you can't re-download that app to look at what you want to look at. I know that sounds extreme, but we need to be wise, because pornography does not tell the whole story about sex. And I know you guys want to know the whole story, so that way you can have a healthy and fulfilling sex life when you're married. And that's my wish for you, and that's my prayer for you, is that you'll recognize that porn does not tell us the whole story. It actually robs and addicts, and it's not healthy for us in any way. And I know you guys don't want that. So choose today to, one, not be fooled, choose not to participate, and start taking those steps towards that. Porn is hurtful and damaging, and God wants better for us. So choose to say no to it. Choose to put things in place that will protect you. Bring other people into that conversation, parents, small group leaders, close friends. Tell them, I need help with this because this is something that I can't control. And I promise you, your life will be much better for it. That way, when it comes to sex, you can really start to know the whole story.
Thank you so much for watching our Orchard Students Ministry YouTube channel. But don't stop there. Hit the subscribe and like button so you don't miss any of our content. And also share this with any of your friends and family. Follow us on Instagram and Facebook to keep up to date with upcoming message series and events. Thank you again for watching, and God bless you.